Hello guys, welcome back to the party. If you have been watching the last couple of videos, you might know that I have been working to get my home metal studio set up, and recently, specifically, I've been working on getting my casting situation together. I did a video about my kiln, I did a video about my all-in-one vacuum cast, and then I also recently did a video about some of the wax carving tools that I like to use that are actually pretty budget friendly. So if you haven't seen any of those, you might want to check those out before you get into today's video. Or if you watch today's video and you're just kind of curious about some of the things that I'm using. So you know what today is, you know what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about casting some more. I'm just messing with you guys. You know what we're after.
The perfect cast.
Let's get to it. That is our wax weight. I'm gonna add, I guess 10% for the button. I don't know what you guys add. I think it's, I can't remember. I think 10% for the button. And then we're gonna go ahead and convert our wax weight into metal weight. And we're gonna be working with sterling silver today. All right, I also just wanna point out that I measured this before I attached it to this rubber bottom, because once it is attached, it's awfully hard to weigh. I don't need the weight of the rubber bottom at all. If I did that, I would end up having to cut it out and then weigh it and then reattach it. So just a little remember for you guys. So I'm looking at this right here. I don't know if you guys can tell. I think that's a little close to the edge of the flask for me. So I think I'm gonna maybe reposition these a little bit before I go ahead and connect that bottom. Okay, I scooched it over just a little bit. I think that's okay. I feel all right with that. And I'll just make sure to pour the investment from like over here and be extra careful. Okay, hopefully you guys can see from this angle. I'm gonna go ahead and get my water measured out, and then I'm gonna measure the powder. I'm telling you right now because I'm gonna have this mask on and I am not gonna be able to have clear words for you. So just want to let you guys know what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set like the timer on my watch. And that's how I'm gonna work. And these instructions I got from the Prestige Oro website. Let's get started. All right, we're just gonna let that set up for, it says about 90 minutes. And in the meanwhile, I'm gonna get cleaned up. We'll get ready to do the burnout next. Okay, one thing I'm gonna do while I'm cleaning up, and I'm waiting on this to set up before we unwrap it and get it burning out in the kiln, is I wanna make sure that I take really good notes. One thing I wanna make note of is that when we mix the investment powder, I did have, I feel like, quite a bit left over. I would say maybe even like a cup. I had to have almost at least 8 ounces left over. It was quite a bit. So I'm gonna make a note of that. And then next time when I do this, I can say, hey, maybe I can mix a little bit less of that investment powder. Because again, that powder is expensive and I hated kind of scraping it out in the trash. So later when I get a bucket in here and quench, I'm gonna rinse that out. I don't really want to rinse that out in the sink because I'm afraid of it, you know, messing up the pipes and stuff like that. But so I'm gonna make a note of that. Another note of using this vacuum machine, I want to let you guys know. So if you watched that other video, you might recall that I was really concerned about getting to the correct pressure. I read online, everyone said that you needed around 29 Hg. Well, when I did this, I only reached, again, just like in the test I did with the pancake batter before the investment arrived, is that I really got to probably like 27.5. I was almost at 28, so we weren't too far off, but I'm really worried about bubbles in the investment. I do feel like, if you guys saw, I feel like I did get a lot of bubbles coming out. That was encouraging to see, but even though I put the tape up, I didn't see where I had that doubling. I did see a rise, but I wouldn't call it like a double. So we're gonna see, hopefully our pieces come out okay and they're not covered in those little like balls of extra material, because that would really be, again, kind of a waste. So let's wait on this and then we'll go do our burnout. Okay, we're about an hour and a half later. We're gonna go ahead and get this tape off, and then we're gonna get the kiln going. Okay, the top seems pretty nice and smooth to me, and I'm hoping that it looks nice and smooth and there's no bubbles all the way through. So give me those Tinkerbell claps, guys. So you guys can see in here, I have two little kind of like fire brick pieces down at the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and get this turned on. And since this is not programmable, I am gonna have to gradually increase the temperature myself. Okay, that only took about 5 minutes to get to about 40 Celsius. I read you're not supposed to put it into a cold oven. So that's why I was like, we'll get it to what I think is about 100 and something degrees Fahrenheit. So you can see in there we have a little room for burnout down there. And I think that's where it's gonna live for the next 13 hours or so. And I'm gonna go ahead and creep that up to about 75 degrees Celsius. I'm gonna try to gradually, like I said, increase it. And again, this measurement down here is still in Celsius. I never was able to switch it to Fahrenheit, but in this case, that's not super important. I don't really need to switch it to Fahrenheit because the instructions for the investment powder were also in Celsius. So let's just, when in Rome, do what the Romans do, right? Well, unless they're down in there, I don't think this was a successful cast. Okay guys, so some of you were probably cringing or yelling at the screen when I did that metal pour. If it makes you feel any better, not only did it happen to me, but I have to watch this back to edit it. So you might have noticed my mistake here was I actually did not turn the vacuum chamber on, the casting chamber on at the right time. And the real lesson I think here is, for me, obviously I should have turned the vacuum on before I actually poured the metal, because that is what was sucking the metal downward. The other lesson here is that I really started my cast too late. So by the time it was time to actually pour the metal and actually do the casting, I was exhausted. And so the lesson here is, if I had started earlier, I think I would have just had a better chance. So I'm not gonna leave you guys hanging. I'm not gonna go out like that. We are gonna have a little bit of casting grain left, and I insist on having a good cast, so I'm gonna try again. I did lose some bezel. So almost, this ring does not want to be made, huh guys? But the little flowers came out great. So this I would call a successful cast. Some notes, but we're getting there, huh? So this got to spend a little bit of time in the pickle, and I think this actually came out pretty good. I think, let's see if you can see some of the detail a little bit better. Where I did some, you can see the texture I tried to make with the little soldering iron. So obviously I got to cut these off, and then there's some cleanup that needs to be done. The ring didn't fare so well, and I don't think this is really part of the casting process problem. I think this is more of I should have made this a little bit beefier in wax right here. So I don't know if I'll be able to clean that up and fix it. You know, I can fix potholes in the silver, but I can't really fix, you know, cliffs. So that being said, if I'm not able to kind of touch it up, I think this will just go in my recycling pile. But this, I think, is a successful cast. I got, you know, some earrings out of it. So I am pretty happy with this. What do you guys think? I know that it may not have come out absolutely perfect, but I feel like I'm still learning. And honestly, like, the last time I did anything to do with casting was college, and it hasn't been that long ago, but it has been just long enough for me to kind of forget some stuff. So I just hope that as I'm doing this process, I'm gonna keep trying, and at least if I'm gonna make mistakes, I'm gonna make different mistakes. I'm gonna keep looking over my notes and thinking about what I want to do differently for next time. I had a great time. This was really fun, even though it seems like kind of a long process. And maybe if you don't get the results you want at the end, you might feel a little disappointed, but I think if you learned something, then I don't think it was a waste of time. I really just want to keep practicing to make perfect. I have some sapphires and garnets that I want to try doing cast in place. And then I also really want to try doing a burnout with PLA, doing some 3D printing with the Bamboo A1 Mini that we have, which I also did an unboxing and kind of first thoughts on if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, so I have big plans for this situation. And I actually think the vacuum cast machine was kind of the thing that I was the most nervous about. And I think that actually worked out pretty well, even though it's maybe not where I thought I needed to be pressure-wise. It did, that part seemed to work out okay. But I'm gonna keep troubleshooting, and I will let you guys know thoughts in later videos as I get more familiar with my machines and with the process. So do you have any tips and tricks for me? I have to say, when I did the first cast and I literally did not turn the vacuum machine on at the right time for the casting chamber, I felt pretty stupid. So maybe you guys could make me feel better. Either tips or tricks down below, or tell me the dumbest thing you've ever done casting. That would actually make me feel great. It would make me feel a little better about sharing my shame. So that's gonna do it for me today. I will see you guys in the next one. Go forth, be kind, be creative.